Kevin was unsure what would happen when he was led in front of the Alliance's director. He was relieved to find out that she wanted to reward him for saving the candidates for the position of administrator from the myriads the other day. Then the director said, "I heard from Marshall that you've been very helpful to him in recent months." "I've done my best," Kevin replied humbly. "From what I've heard about your current skill level, you show great promise as an apothecary. So I've decided to give you the title of messenger in our alliance," the director said as she gestured for someone to bring something over to Kevin. One of her assistants handed him a platinum signet ring. Everyone in the hall had their eyes on Kevin. Most of them were filled with jealousy. The members of the alliance knew that the title of messenger was almost as important as the one of the kingpins. In addition to that, the messenger had the authority to mobilize resources and also carry out the director's will. But before Kevin could touch the ring, a man suddenly stood up. He respectfully acknowledged the director and then he said, "Madam Director, I feel that Kevin is both immoral and incompetent. He isn't qualified to be messenger." Then he looked at Kevin with disdain. He was the Sergeant-at-Arms King, one of the Alliance's 4 kings. He had made countless contributions after joining the Alliance 30 years ago. Naturally, he had many supporters in the organization. "I would like you to reconsider. The messenger's position is extremely important to us. We can't let a newcomer take on the role," he sneered. "I think that although Kevin has made a great contribution, he is too young. I would only allow him to take this position once he's had more experience," he continued. "Young people tend to be too impulsive. Besides, Kevin doesn't yet have a strong enough reputation to take on this responsibility." Nearly half of the people in the room agreed with him and pleaded with the director to rescind her order. "Are you doubting my judgment?" the director replied coldly. "Please calm down, Madam Director. I wouldn't dare to insult you. But he can't be promoted to this position," he pleaded. "Kevin saved our administrator candidates and has made great contributions to our alliance. And now that he has been trained as an apothecary, he's already qualified to be our new messenger. Besides that, his mentor is the Night King. Do you still think that he isn't qualified?" the director explained. This last bit of information shocked the members. The Night King had been absent for years and they had no idea that he had taken on a pupil. "It seems like the Alliance really has a lot of information about me. How did they find out about my training with the Night King?" Kevin thought to himself as he listened to them whispering to each other. But he wasn't surprised that the director knew he could make herbal medicine. After all, he had saved Miranda in front of everyone at the campsite. Word was bound to spread. But how many of them believed in his skill? "Do you have any objections now?" the director asked the Sergeant-at-Arms King. "Since Kevin is the Night King's pupil, I naturally have no objections," he answered fearfully. "Then this matter will be decided," the director said as she stood up with her 2 assistants. "Kevin, come with me. There is an important matter for you to attend to." "Of course," Kevin said excitedly. He'd never thought that he would end up in such a prestigious position. As dozens of people watched, Kevin followed the director's assistants through a large door. It led to a room that was filled with a delicate fragrance. The director gestured for the 2 women to leave her alone with Kevin. "Since you're the Night King's pupil, you should have heard about the poison pill," the director said as she removed her collar so that Kevin could see her face clearly. When Kevin saw how beautiful she was, he was so stunned that he forgot to answer her question. "Do you realize that the Alliance would have you punished for looking at me like that?" she said sternly. "I'm sorry, but I was distracted for a second by your beauty," Kevin awkwardly apologized. "Since it's your first offense, I'll let it pass. For now, we have something more important to deal with. The poison pill," the director said lightly. "Anyone who joins the Alliance has to take one. If they don't take the antidote in time, they will not survive. Only the executive director and the Night King can prepare the antidote for the poison pill," she continued to explain. "But the executive director has been unavailable for the past 2 weeks and the Night King has always been elusive. The people you just saw in the main hall will take the poison pill in less than 3 days, so it will be up to you to make the antidote, the director explained as she looked closely at Kevin. So you want me to prepare a poison antidote? Kevin asked with some doubt. Well, it's not exactly an antidote, she clarified. We use the poison pill to control the members and assure their loyalty to the Alliance. It's not easy to do this because of the pill's side effects. So what you need to do is to refine a medicinal pill that suppresses the toxicity of the poison pill, and not the actual antidote. Do you understand? At this point, the director's eyes suddenly flashed with a touch of doubt, and she asked him, Could it be that the Night King didn't teach you this? Of course my mentor taught me this, but I wonder if the proper medicinal herbs are stored in the headquarters? Kevin asked with a faint smile. That's easy. There are herbs and flowers everywhere on the property. In fact, there's an inexhaustible supply. You can go and pick them as you wish, the director replied. Then her expression suddenly turned serious. But you can't mess this up. If you do, you'll pay with your life. Rest assured, Madam Director, I won't let you down, Kevin replied happily. The reason he'd asked about the herbs earlier was to have the director's permission to go outside and properly pick the ingredients that he needed. Go now, the director said as she gestured for Kevin to leave. Come and find me when you're ready. Kevin left the room and headed outside. After about 2 hours, he had picked a lot of herbs and flowers that were growing all around the building. I should bring Marshall back and show him all of this, Kevin said to himself excitedly. He had found all sorts of exotic ingredients. Some of them were necessary for the pills that he was about to prepare for the Alliance members, but others could be used for things that the Night King hadn't taught him yet and he knew that he wanted to make. Kevin found what he needed to reduce the effects of the poison pill. Then he headed over to the director's residence. As he walked in the door, he heard the sound of someone hyperventilating. What's she doing? Kevin wondered. He carefully walked to the door and knocked on it a few times. Is that you, Kevin? Come in quickly. The director sounded a little anxious. When Kevin walked into the room, he froze on the spot. The director was curled up on her bed. Her long dress was soaked with sweat and her thighs were exposed a little. She was having trouble breathing. Kevin was immediately concerned and asked her, Madam Director, have you taken the poison pill? I've been very busy lately, so I forgot that I took the poison pill a few days earlier than everyone else. Have you found any herbs that can counteract the poison? She asked weakly. I found them. Do you want me to make it for you immediately? Kevin asked her. You'll have to tie me up first. I'm afraid that the side effects will be too strong and I may hurt myself, she said while gritting her teeth. She felt as if there were tens of thousands of fire ants crawling over every part of her body. I'll do what I can, Kevin said as he took a deep breath and closed the door. He found some scarves and tied the director to her chair. Next, Kevin found a bowl and began to prepare the antidote. 10 minutes later, the bowl shattered and a pill rolled onto the table. Kevin wiped the sweat from his forehead and picked it up carefully. He walked over to the director and gave her the pill. Then he stepped back and waited for it to take effect. After a half an hour, the director let out a long breath. The painful side effects had subsided, and she said, I feel like I made a good choice. It looks like you have amazing skills for someone your age. My mentor has taught me well, but I still have a lot to learn, Kevin said modestly. But then he wondered what else the Night King had left to teach him. I'm not worried about refining the pill for the rest of the group right now. I have a different task for you, she said pleasantly. Kevin was a little worried. What could it be? Was she going to reward him for helping her? What do you have in mind? Kevin asked tentatively. A month ago, we received news that some of our rival organizations planned to set up a school for the natural healing arts in Chicago. On the surface, it looks like a school to help nurture talented young people, but in reality, it's an attempt to squash our alliance. Her eyes flashed with anger as she said this. This is a diabolical plan. How could they pretend to be virtuous but do something so vicious? Kevin asked with righteous indignation. Rest assured that as long as I'm still breathing, I won't let them succeed." "Well put. We need loyal and passionate men like you," she said with relief. "I was concerned that you wouldn't be willing to attend the school's new campus, but I'm not worried about that anymore." "What? You want me to be a spy?" Kevin was stunned once again. "I know that this is a difficult request, but it's the best time for you to make a contribution that would convince everyone that you're worthy of your new post as messenger," the director replied. "The new school will definitely cause a big stir in Chicago. Lots of rich kids will rush to enroll there. I need you to sneak in and find something for me." "What would you like me to find?" Kevin asked apprehensively. "One of the organizations involved in the school has a new process for herbal preparation that they call consolidation. I want you to learn it and bring it back to us," she told him. "But I'm sure you have people who already know far more about this," Kevin suggested. "Don't be afraid," she interrupted. "For you to complete the mission smoothly, I've prepared a secret manual for you. It's in the box on your left. Open it up and take a look." "Of course." Kevin agreed. He had his doubts, but it was too late to back down now. He opened the box and took out the manual. Kevin was surprised to see that there was also a blood-red pill in the box. "What pill is this?" Kevin wondered out loud. "This is called the Condensation Pill. It helps to keep your internal energy from being unstable, which can be very dangerous," the director explained. "The pill is there to help you with your mission." Kevin immediately became happy when he heard this. Of course, he had learned about the condensation pill. At this point in his development, it would be very important for him. Otherwise, he might have problems down the road. He might not be ready for it yet, but Kevin was willing to take a chance. Without even thinking, he swallowed the medicinal pill in one gulp. "Hold on," the director quickly stopped him. "The medicinal properties of this pill are extremely powerful. You are supposed to take it while soaking in a mountain spring." "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Kevin said in a panic. Why hadn't he read this in any of his books? There are no mountains near Chicago. "I was about to tell you, but you swallowed it before I had a chance," the director said helplessly. "What will happen if I take it like this? Can it kill me?" Kevin asked sadly. "I have no idea. I've never heard of anyone taking the pill this way." The director shook her head. "Come over here so I can take a look at you." Kevin nodded, but as he was walking over to the director, his face suddenly felt like it was on fire. Very soon, Kevin felt like he was in a furnace and his whole body was burning. But in the next second, he suddenly started shivering. The heat instantly turned cold, and even the air that came out of his mouth and nose was freezing. "This isn't the condensation pill," Kevin said as he fell to the ground trembling in agony. "This is the madness pill." Suddenly, Kevin felt his body fill with power that needed to be released immediately. After a few minutes, his vision was blurred. He got up shakily from the floor and started to take off his clothes.
Hi, Kevin here. If you're wondering what happens next, then stay tuned on the Pocket FM Universe channel for more episodes.